I'm good.
Welcome to another episode of Double B Creates. This is Brad and Kevin, where we talk to movers, shakers, influencers, and we end up laughing at ourselves halfway through the intro. So anyway, today we're talking to Sally Bell Pitman, and she is in another industry that we haven't touched on yet. So this is kind of cool, and we'll see where this one goes. So Sally, what is it that you are doing?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on here. I really appreciate it, by the way. So it's an honor to just come on here and share my story. I am a mom, a wife, and a health coach, as well as my husband and I own 2 CBD stores. So we spend a lot of time educating and just are really focused in health and wellness and approaching that from a holistic aspect.
Awesome.
I like that.
What is the name of the CBD company? Like, where can people find you as far as that goes? And then also on the health coach aspect, kind of just promote yourself.
Sure. So our stores are the Hemp and CBD Co. We are located in Ahwatukee, Arizona, and Maricopa, Arizona. And we do online sales as well. We also launched recently an app, the Hemp and CBD Co. app. And, we really just want to help people. So we really want to help people understand that when you're looking at health, it's not single faceted, right? It's not one thing. It's not eating one healthy meal, working out one day. It's really coming at it and learning healthy habits. So that's also what I do in terms of health coaching. It's not about the number on the scale. That is, of course, one piece, one indicator of health, but learning healthy habits. So I think our identity, who we are, is made up of what we do every day. And who we are is our habits. You know, if you're a reader or a writer or, you like to shoot guns, those are, you created habits around these things, these passions. And my passion happens to be health. So I had open heart surgery 7 years ago when I was pregnant with me and my husband's youngest daughter, Abby. She's 6 now. And I had to have my aortic valve replaced and due to a birth defect. So during this whole season of our life, we gained a lot of weight. I was personally severely depressed, and just going through this whole surgery and it being super scary, and then coming out on the other side of it and realizing that I have an obligation to just be the best version of myself. Because I was able to overcome that situation. So that's kind of what has really started the focus of health with my journey, and then realizing that I want to help people feel good, because when you feel your best, you're able to show up your best. So, I really market mostly on Facebook in terms of health coaching. And share my story and other people's transformations. So Sally Bell Pitman on Facebook and Instagram. And then, of course, our CBD stores, the Hemp and CBD Co.
Awesome. I was going to bring that surgery up, and you did it for me.
Sorry,
Your husband
I went on a little rant there.
No, perfect. Your husband had mentioned that it was, he noted that it was WebMD's first recorded open heart surgery where both the patient and the fetus survive.
Yeah, so especially with like the medication. So the anesthesiologist is actually the one. I had my surgery at Mayo Clinic in Scottsdale,
That's what it
Arizona.
was, sorry.
Yeah, and so they do a lot of cutting edge. Mayo's known internationally, like worldwide, for what they do. And I was actually scheduled for the surgery. 3 days before surgery, I found out I was pregnant. They were not very thrilled with that. And they actually had really encouraged us to not keep the baby. They encouraged us to abort because their focus was me and my survival and my health. But we actually decided to just, go through it. We put it in God's hands, but I ended up having some complications that postponed the surgery for 5 weeks. So I was 10 weeks when I had the surgery. And if I would have been 12 weeks, Mayo's policy is that I wouldn't have been able to have the surgery there because I'd have been too far along. So luckily I was able to have the surgery, and just with the medication. So the anesthesiologist is the one that actually wrote the report. And then just the success of not just me, but then our daughter is like amazing. There's absolutely nothing wrong with her.
Well, that's awesome. My brother used to work at the Mayo Clinic, and he talked about stuff like that, and it's good to see that they're coming up with ways to make more things successful in the surgery realm.
Yeah, I mean, what they can do is incredible in terms of the medical field. And they were not only able to help me through that process, but able to keep the fetus. And we were both fine, and I got off all of the medications as quickly as possible, and so they were able to just really help us through that. But then even the pregnancy, I think too, that was really hard, and because it was like after the surgery, I was like, the journey was not quite over.
Right. So what got you into the CBD world? Because you mentioned like you got off of all of the medications as fast as possible, and that's something that I would have expected to hear.
Yeah, I mean, we have always been, just from the THC end. So I have my medical marijuana card from here in Arizona. And because of my medical history and my surgery, I mean, I have wire in my chest from, breaking open my chest. So I still feel that, right? I still feel the effects from after my surgery, but not wanting the psychoactive impact, right? So I want to think clearly. I want to be able to still receive the benefits of cannabinoids. So for those who aren't familiar, marijuana and hemp are two different plants. They're like cousin plants, but marijuana is THC enriched and hemp is CBD enriched. So you don't have the psychoactive impact with hemp that you do with marijuana. So I personally like that. Because I want to be, I'm a mom, an entrepreneur, I wear several different hats, and I want to be able to be clear-headed and still feel good. So I also suffer from migraines. They're hormonal, and it's no fun. And so what I've realized in my CBD journey is that each month my symptoms are starting to reduce a little bit. And so just realizing that the benefit for us is really kind of what led us down that path. And then we do have a business partner who, he opened up a store in Tucson, as soon as hemp became legal. And then we partnered up with him to, open up additional stores.
So you said you like taking the holistic approach. What
Mm-hmm.
kind of pushed you towards that?
Realizing for myself that I don't want to be on prescription medication. So with my cardiac history, even with my cardiac history, and then having my hormonal migraines, I'm just not a normal patient. So they can't address my hormonal issues like they would a normal human being because of my cardiac history. So really kind of being forced to find alternatives anyways. And then my neurologist, her solution is to give me basically seizure medication. And that's her long-term solution. And so I just, for myself, that's not what I want. When I look at optimal health, like being on prescription medication with, other side effects, that doesn't seem like ideal. So just kind of really wanting to search outside of that. So for me, nutrition, and taking care of myself, so that when I'm battling these symptoms, I realize like I don't feel as bad. So when I'm not taking care of myself and I'm not feeling my best, and then I'm still having to battle all these other symptoms, that's really what kind of kicked it into the nutrition piece. And then the CBD aspect came later. So, just kind of moving through that journey of what optimal health looks like for me. And then, sharing that, because I do feel like these are gifts. I mean, these are things that have literally changed not just my life, but people that I love. Anyone from my 6-year-old who we've given CBD for when she broke her arm, instead of having her on a ton of pain meds, to my grandma, and, my mom and my sister, and then my healthy habits having a ripple effect onto them as well. So like me and my husband, we've lost 100 pounds, over 100 pounds together. And that's really impactful on your life.
That's awesome. My wife is learning that I don't take her complaining sometime, because she complains about her weight, and then I'm like, I'm 100 pounds heavier than you. What are you complaining about? And she goes, well, I want to do this. I want to do this. So go do it. Well, I know you just want someone to complain to, but let's figure it out. And she's finally learned that I'm in her corner. She just has to say, hey, let's go do this. Okay, let's go. I used to competitively power lift, and at my max weight, I was like 397 pounds. I was a big kid.
That's a lot of weight to be carrying.
Oh, yeah. Well, and then I tore this bicep, and then I compressed 4 discs in my back, and the doctor's like, yeah, you got to be done. So now, I don't know, I think I'm 255 now. And my wife's like, well, would you ever get back into it? I go, probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, I've destroyed enough of my body doing that. I think I'll just kind of keep in shape now.
I mean, as you get older, your goals change, right? Your health goals evolve. So I'm sure what you were doing before you had a family, it becomes different, right?
Yeah, she is also a nutrition specialist, and she trains track and field athletes. And she asked me one day, she goes, well, why do you eat so much? I go, I just got to feed the beast. I'm not going to feed it too much. And she goes, well, what's the worst part about being a competitive powerlifter? I'm like, eating. She goes, what do you mean? I go, I was eating 10,000 calories a day.
Wow.
8 meals. Well, let me tell you, eating sucked.
I mean, I eat 6 times a day, but I'm sure my meals look a lot different than what yours are like.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like my wife, she made some salad, and I looked at her. I'm like, I gotta have meat. I gotta have protein. Well, it's healthy for you. I still have to have the protein aspect. And
Yeah.
so one day we had to sit down and we had to kind of set out our caloric intake. And she goes, yours is so much different. I'm like, I'm 100 pounds heavier. I'm a bigger
Mhm.
dude. I lift more weights. I'm a
Yeah.
little more active. And
And
she
you
finally,
metabolize different.
yeah.
I mean, it's so annoying. Like CJ will be like, I'm gonna lose 10 pounds. And it happens because he said it. Like, you're so annoying.
Yeah, I know some people that are that way. They're like, "Oh yeah, I lost 20 pounds." I'm like, "God, probably gained 10 of what you lost." I mean, I just looked at ice cream and I gained weight.
My wife is in a weight loss challenge with her mother and her cousin, two of her cousins. And I said, hey, I'm going to do it with you guys. They're all down like 4 pounds. I'm down like 24.
That is not fair. But you know what? At the end of the day, I think in those situations, everyone wins, though, right?
Yeah.
If you're moving that needle closer towards the direction that you want to go in your health, like community is massive in doing that. I do believe we're better together. So if you have people that are supporting you, but it's also, taking accountability, right? Taking
That's
accountability
exactly what
for
I was just
yourself.
going to say.
Yeah.
Well, not only accountability, but I think if you have a common goal in mind too, makes it a whole lot easier to do it.
You have your own cheering
Yeah.
section mixed in.
Totally. I mean, but I know for like CJ and I, my husband, we sometimes have similar goals, but our vision of how to get there can be really different.
That's the truth.
Which isn't always a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad thing because you need to see each other's opinions and options. I mean, my wife does Olympic lifting. I do powerlifting. And one day she's like, well, you need to do this. And I looked at her, I go, well, once you start doing this at this weight, then you'll make that decision. And so now we have a competition that I'll get more weight in a certain lift than she'll get in a certain lift in like 6 months. And it is kicking the crap out of me because I can't go quick. I'm used to slow, powerful lifts where she's used to fast reflexes.
Yeah.
It's really fun, and it's I don't know. I think if you can kind of see both sides of the spectrum from each people, it makes it that much easier.
Yeah. Well, we're all different. We all have different health journeys and then, different health goals too. So I love that about what I do is like helping people see what's possible. I know like at one place in my journey, I thought this was it. This is how life is going to be. But then as I challenge myself and I push myself, I am able to see what I'm capable of. And, I'm willing to push myself further than I was in my 20s. So now I'm like, okay, this is great because now I'm doing things I never thought were possible at this time in my life.
Have you seen that video of the guy that was a paratrooper forever and he blew out both of his knees and gained all the weight, couldn't walk?
I think so.
And he hired a health coach. He was, I want to say like 200 pounds overweight. And over the course of like a year, this was like a decade ago, over the course of like a year, by the end of the video, he's running sprints.
That's remarkable.
And so, I mean, you're never really too far gone to improve your body is kind of my point.
Well, I think the other thing is you have to care.
You have to want it.
My uncle just got diagnosed with diabetes, and I can't remember what type. But he's like, well, I got to lose like 200 pounds. So lose it. Well, it's difficult. No, really? I mean, I understand it's difficult. I came from there. But you have to want it. I can't say you can lose it. And he's like, well, how do I do it? Well, you cut out all the sodas, and you're going to lose like 30 pounds instantaneously. And he goes, well, you don't cut out soda. I go, I know. I'm bad.
Hypocrite.
But you're not in his situation.
Yeah.
He has a diagnosis.
Right.
And, I see that all the time, though, it's the comparison game, right? Comparing, well, if I compared myself to my husband's journey, like, I would lose my mind because he's able to lose weight a lot quicker than I am. But it's also just realizing, like, this is my journey. I've got to take accountability, right? And attacking one habit at a time. And I think that was amazing advice that you offered him. Like, just start with one thing.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. When somebody comes to you with their own personalized goal, whether it be to lose weight or to become more fit or, something of their own desire, what are the steps that you go to start them on that path, or to figure out how to start leading them?
First, I want to, have a conversation with them. Usually just trying to get on the phone, have that conversation that's 15, 20 minutes, and figure out what it is that they're wanting. Usually people associate that to a number on the scale, but then digging deeper and really understanding. So if they were to reach that goal weight, like, what does that look like in terms of how they're able to, move, how they feel, how they're able to connect with people, the people that they love, their spouse, their children, their grandchildren, and really create a picture of what that life would look like, that their future self, that version of themselves that they desire to be. Because it is more than just that number on the scale. It's really, for me, I would put my kids in front of me in pictures. If I got into a picture and I realized there's a gap in history that I'm not in, there's no photographic proof because I was hiding. And so now I'm like all up in the pictures because I'm not worried. I'm not distracted by that. So really trying to help people envision what that looks like and then develop a plan from there. So a lot of my clients, I don't start them off with a workout regimen. We don't start off working out. We're focusing on, usually it's eating 6 times a day is typically, and that would, vary depending on what that goal is, but eating 6 times a day and drinking water and starting there.
Yeah, I'm bad at drinking water. I should be drinking like twice the amount of water that I do, and I struggle all the time. When I was powerlifting, I think I'd get 400 ounces in a day. And my neighbors are like, why are you doing that? I'm like, it just helps flush everything.
It all out. Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, why? I go, because I'm taking supplements and this and that and the other. And some supplements
You're eating
really
10,000 calories.
Some other supplements kind of bad for you. So you got to flush that crap out. And yeah, I got sepsis. What is that? 5 years ago now?
Yeah.
You seem way too young to have had sepsis.
So I work at a sewer plant, and I got a double ear infection when I started. Well, I got sepsis from the double ear infection.
Wow.
And so I won't go through the entire story because it's really long. And
you could tell the Mackenzie story.
The what?
Mackenzie story.
Oh my God. Okay. Oh, we'll talk about the Mackenzie story. So after 36 hours in the ER, I finally went from 107.5 degree fever to 102.5.
Oh my God.
But then they moved me from the ER into triage because they needed, nurses there 24/7 to keep the temperature down. Well, since they moved me, I had to go to the bathroom. I praise her all the time, but this little nurse is 5'2" and 8.5 months pregnant. At the time, I'm 6'4" and 295, and I can't walk. And she goes, "Oh, I'll just walk you over to the bathtub, to the toilet." I'm like, "That ain't gonna happen. It's just not gonna work." She goes, "I got somebody." So she calls on her little radio, and, "Can I get Mackenzie over here?" I'm like, "Great, another girl. Awesome. I'm gonna hurt 2 girls." All of a sudden, this 7'5" Polynesian guy comes in, built like the statue of David, and he goes, "Oh, you need to go to the bathroom?" I'm like, "Yeah." And literally picks me up, sets me down, and he goes, "You need me to wipe?" "No, I need this little shred of pride, just a little bit."
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was, yeah, but they pumped, I think they put 8 bags of antibiotics through me in 49 hours. And so I signed an affidavit that said I can't sue them because it's going to hurt my kidneys and livers, but they will do everything in their power to help me recover. And so now my liver's fine. I'm at 70% on both kidneys now, where I was at like 12 when I got out of the hospital. So water is a thing for me. Like when I don't drink enough, I will know about it. If I drink too much soda, I'm gonna know about it. There are sometimes my wife thinks I have kidney stones, but it's like, no, I just need to drink more water because my body's mad. But I think some people take their health for granted a lot. And it's just the little things. It really is just the little things that will literally change your entire feeling. Start drinking more water.
It's a mindset.
Yeah.
It really, health is a mindset. So one thing that I used to do is reward myself with carbs and sugar. So I would, and we do it right in celebrations, holidays, we are rewarding ourselves, or I would tell myself, because I was going through a hard time, especially during open hearts, being a pregnant heart patient. Literally, I would say, I deserve this because I'm a pregnant heart patient. And no one's going to argue with that.
Nope.
But what I realized through this process is if I truly love myself, I'm going to put things in my body that are going to help me feel my best, to help me be my best. So it's been a mindset shift, and it's not perfect. It's super messy, and, emotions are complicated. But I find that I'm worth it and my family's worth it. So that's the self-love and mindset shift that I've been trying to create.
I think that's good. Not only on you learn to love yourself, but you also learn that there's another side of health that makes you feel so much better.
Yeah.
And I can attest to that from being Kevin's light cover fell. Now he's seeing colors. I think a lot of people mistake the little things because they're like, yeah, it's so difficult. Well, yeah, you've got to build that in you, because I can tell you I don't like going to the gym sometimes. I really don't want to, but I know it's for the best, so I do it. I know I should be drinking 265 ounces a day, but maybe I get 190 in, and I know I should do better. And it's just something that eventually over time it's going to come back.
Yeah. Not only that, I used to do the same thing when I was doing MMA, and I'd go to the gym and I was just I'd sit in my car for 20 minutes, and I was like, this sucks. I don't want to go in. And then I go in, and after about 5 minutes, I was like, okay, I'm glad I came in.
Every time, right?
Yep,
Single
every
time.
single time.
Yeah, my wife is the same way. I buy a certain pre-workout that states on the bottle that you need to set aside 8 hours because you will be hyper focused for those 8 hours. And my wife one time she goes, "I'm gonna take a pre-workout." I'm like, "Great, I'll take it with you. We'll go work out." She didn't tell me she took it on an empty stomach. She was wired. It was the funniest thing in the world because like she worked out more than I've ever seen somebody work out in one day. And he was like, "I can't get rid of this energy. I can't get rid of it." I'm like, "Well, because you're kind of stupid." But more water, more water. You got to flush it out. But yeah, I mean, when I'm down, I'll take a pre-workout. That'll help me get going, or I'll focus on something that'll get me going. I don't know about Kevin, but music really helps me get going sometimes. It helps change my mindset. And I think if they find those little things that help change your mindset, it will ultimately help you in the long run.
I think I have music on about 90% of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why I get so excited when we talk to musicians, because I'm like, you're the reason I can make it through my day.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's important to find whatever like your trigger is. And I think everyone's different. I'm like, I need accountability. So I'll tell people what I want or what I'm trying to achieve and ask for help. Because I am more likely to do something for someone else than myself. And I know that.
Well, and I think it's easier to do it for someone else than for yourself too. And, because, yeah, if I'm helping somebody else, I don't have to just focus on myself.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, it's rewarding to help other people. It's kind of in our nature as humans.
It is rewarding. I agree.
I like it too. When we talk to people who are business owners and stuff like that, and they're like, we've got 2 guys that have really just like lit a fire under our butts and said, you guys need to do this and this and this and this and this, all for free. And we've talked to each one of them. I've got both their phone numbers. They call me all the freaking time. And like, that's just going to make them more successful in their business, in my opinion, because they're not in it for them. They're not in it for the money. They're in it to help other people. And we haven't paid either one of them ever. So
That's awesome.
It's great when you can come across people who truly just want to help. I think that they're a lot more genuine.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good segue to our one scripted question.
I think so too.
So we asked this to everybody because we think it's a very dynamic question. It catches a lot of people off guard.
Putting her on the spot. Nice lead up.
Yeah.
I really should have listened to those other podcasts, huh?
Yep. She's all worried now. What are you going to ask me? So in your own personal definition, what is success to you?
That's a good one. Success is definitely different for so many people. So I am literally creating my success. So for me, my success has been leaving my corporate job of 12 years. That was really, really important to me. So in terms of like the life that I want to live and I envision is I want to have a couple houses, one on the beach, and be able to just work and help people from anywhere in the world, and travel. So for me, my success is measured by the amount of people that I'm able to help. And then creating the life that I envision. So that's how I measure success for me.
I like it.
Yeah, that's really good. A lot of people will sit and think, and they'll say something, and then you'll see it click, and then like, no, it's this, and that's why we like asking it, because no two people are the same. You
Yeah.
know, like me and Kevin a couple months ago put it up on Facebook, and people are like, a lot of money. Well, that's not success, though. What's your idea of success? And now everybody that we've talked to, it's all dynamically different, but kind of the
But
same.
it all kind of routes back to the same thing.
Yeah.
Which is what?
Basically living the life that you want to live the way you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. And that looks so different for everyone, right?
Right.
It really does.
I mean,
like,
look at Dustin and Dustin Johnson and his wife. I can't remember her name all of a sudden. They just sold everything that they had and bought a bus, and they're just driving all over everywhere, and they seem happier than they've ever been.
It's so cool. I mean, I know, and Dustin was super like scared to leave his job and for them to be able to go do this full time. I personally would not want that, but
Right.
I think it is so freaking cool that they are doing that and they are creating the life that they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that, because I mean, I think first episode we did, our minds were blown, because it was 2 words for his definition of success, and it was your terms.
Mm.
And it took us like 3 weeks to figure it out. And then Kevin called me, he goes, dude, this is what it means. And we're both like, oh, okay. And it's now, I mean, we've got 18 ready, 11 out, and it's all different, but is the same.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very, very, I mean, I like it. I really do. It's changed my thought process on success. Every time I hear a new one, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to adopt that one too.
In your speaking, it brought a thought to my mind, and I think it makes sense. The people that sit there and say that if they're rich and if they have all this money and whatever, haven't figured out what they want to do with their life. They don't have a direction. They don't have an ultimate goal.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I would desire.
Like, oh, I hate working, so I just want a lot of money so I don't have to work. Cool. What do you want? Like what?
Yeah.
What does your dream look like for yourself? I think that a lot of people just don't, because we're taught forever. You have to go to school, then you got to go to school again, and then you got to get a good job, and then you got to buy a house, and then you got to get married. It's like, it just doesn't make sense. And so I don't think enough people are exposed to life enough to really have a grasp on the fact that you can truly be anyone you want to and do anything that you want to.
Yeah. And that's what the growth mindset is about. I used to believe that, oh, well, I'm talented in these things, so that's what I should focus on, where maybe that's not my passion.
Right.
Where now I'm like, and honestly, it all started with my health journey. So as I focused on myself and became accountable for myself, all these doors well, not all at once, right? These doors slowly started to open for me. I mean, if you would have asked me like 2 years ago if I was going to be a health coach that owned CBD stores, I mean, I don't even know what you're saying right now. But, that has transitioned. But the end game, CJ and I have always talked about like what we envision for our future. And, there's a lot of similarities in what we desire and what that looks like. But, we're going to get there in different ways.
Yeah, and I've got a lot more questions in regards to the CBD shop and things like that, but I want to wait until I have both of you together so that we can get both sides of it. So I'm like really holding back a lot.
No, totally. Well, and we're excited to come on here together. We definitely play off of each other well and have fun when we're able to come together and share.
Well, we've talked about doing a couple episodes with 4 people, and so far that hasn't happened. So it'll be fun. No, we did the one. The Wasatch
Oh
Widgeon.
yeah, Wasatch Visions, yeah.
But the one dude talked and the other one just kind of sat there. So
It's not going to happen with us.
Well, I think the one with Troy, he was kind of the one that's over it and everything. The other one was just making sure it was all correct.
Yeah. But cool. Do you have anything else? I don't.
Not right now. I think we had a really good broad subject. I think we'll be able to go a whole lot deeper when we have CJ here, and we can kind of see who can embarrass who the best.
Well, it'll probably be me. It's all right. I'm willing to risk it.
Oh, okay. All right.
You're a good sport.
Thanks, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys just even inviting me on here and allowing me to share my story. I really appreciate you guys and what you're doing and what you're trying to build here. I think it's awesome.
We appreciate you being willing to hop on. We get a lot more no's than yeses, but we still shoot it out there. So
Yep.
we'll get there. So thank you for giving us your time.
Absolutely.